Welcome to the LandCave, where we're living as herds, living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
I'm Owen, and this is a podcast.
That's right. And I don't think I can not flub an intro. I don't know, at least the past couple weeks. But
I've actually been watching some Parks and Rec, and so whenever you said it's purged, it's good with me. It's one of those things where I don't have anything new to watch. I mean, I keep trying to find more comedy to watch, like more sitcoms. I went all the way through Kim's Convenience, which the new season of that comes to Netflix here on June 2nd. Excited about that. I went through Superstore over on Hulu. It was fine, very diverse, and I actually appreciated that not everybody was super pretty. That helped.
Normies as we call them.
And then I was like, what can I watch? I've been trying to go through all these services, right? Like I have Amazon, I have Hulu, I have Netflix. There is nothing fun on Amazon. Like once you get past Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, it's like Man in the High Castle, the Invincible, which was good but super violent.
I just watched Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix. I watched that during my Pfizer sick day, which I didn't expect to have happen. It's okay. It's not great, but they keep leading you into being something cool. You got to learn about this mystery, and then you're like, okay, so and the biggest thing that I wanted to know about, we didn't really get to know. But a lot of dark stuff. It's violent. It's graphic. And even a guy like me, I'm like, that was much. So, I completely get that.
Did you watch The Boys?
I have watched the first half of the first season, and I need to watch the rest of it. I've heard Invincible is good too, so I need to watch that.
Invincible is dope. I mean, it's super violent, but and animated, and there's a couple episodes where you're gonna be like,
I think it's easier for you to stomach the animation though, right?
You would think so.
Well, breaking news, I guess, relatively breaking news. You did see the Friends reunion?
I did.
That's been announced. I figured you knew about it even probably before I did.
I did.
So it is not a full episode. It is all of the actors coming together and talking through talking about everything. I'm happy about that. HBO Max. So it's another reason to have HBO Max.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that I will watch it at some point. I don't currently have an HBO sub, so I'll probably need somebody's login to watch it because I'm not paying them $15 to watch that thing. I love Friends more than most people, and definitely more than the majority of men.
Is Friends more like female centric than?
I mean, in terms of fans, I think.
More men maybe went for Seinfeld? I don't know.
I think definitely more guys like Seinfeld. I love that show. I've watched the show through over 100 times, all 10 seasons.
Wow. Okay.
I literally in college, whenever this was pre-streaming Netflix days. This is when the DVD Netflix days. Children, go ask your parents about that. Ask when they used to have to mail their DVDs back in the envelopes. But it was the only DVDs I owned. It was the only thing I owned, and I didn't have cable. And so I would literally just watch
over and over
the 10 seasons. And the second that season 10 was over, I started season 1 again. I don't find the actors themselves really that interesting. They're nice people. Jennifer Aniston's obviously went on to have a good career. Courtney Cox had a TV show on TNT for a little while. Two TV shows, Cougar Town, and then there was also that magazine one where she did some kind of tabloid type thing. Matthew Perry has done almost nothing. David Schwimmer's done almost nothing. Lisa Kudrow's done almost nothing. And they're all fine people. I don't care. They've been interviewed 1,000 times. And so I'm like, what is there to learn about this other than being like, oh, they're on the set. Cool. I saw him doing some table reading. So I will watch it at some point, but there's been several people that are like, hey, Owen, did you see this? I'm like, yeah, but I wanted an episode. I want old man Friends. I want to see if my theory is played out correctly. And
as to where they ended up.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it both ways. I don't think that I think Old Man Friends, no matter how you do it, I think a ton of people are gonna just hate it, and there's no way around it. Unfortunately, I feel like this is the safe bet. And you're right. There's no new bit to this other than the fact they're doing a table read and they're gonna be on the set. Other than that, I don't think we're gonna glean anything that we didn't know already. So I don't know. Like I loved Friends. I didn't get into Seinfeld as much, but I loved Friends, and I used to watch and I guess it was a syndication, even though they were still both on TV. But Frasier and Friends would like come one after another. Friends then Frasier, and I was up way past my bedtime. But
a tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
That's right. There's a D&D campaign of that, by the way, which is Boss Dragons and Scrambled Eggs. Frasier tabletop, where you're not fighting dragons. You're in different Frasier-like scenarios, like you're going to the theater one night, and you can't find your tickets or whatever the scenario is. So I find that hilarious. But you didn't come here to listen to us talk about TV shows.
I mean, you might.
Maybe you had. We ended up doing that.
I wouldn't blame you. We like to mix it up.
Yeah, why not? Why not? To be a little bit less predictable, even though we can be predictable. This week, we're talking about E3. We're leading up to E3. It is the Super Bowl of gaming. It is happening in just a couple weeks, 3 weeks from now. We have some initial dates already set out, which I'm pretty excited about. But we'll find out more as we come along. But we wanted to kind of do an initial thoughts on what we think is going to happen at E3, who we think is going to do things, because Sony is not going to officially be there in official capacity. So I think basically Sony and Nintendo may do their own thing. Bethesda,
Nintendo's going to be there.
Is Nintendo going to be there? They just don't have the official whatever.
I mean, this whole thing is a little weird, and so that's what's hard to say who's going to be there, because it's not a physical presence. It is an online event, and Nintendo did say that they are going to be a part of it. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to have an E3 water stamp on a Treehouse thing, or a Nintendo Direct for that? That remains to be seen, but they have said that they are going to participate at least.
I'm hopeful. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like. That's the big thing for me. And I kind of had two things queued up here. This is the last big E3 that we've had, which was 2019, because then COVID happened. Other than that, it's are we going to get something like this, even though we're not having journalists? Are we going to see something that's full on like that? Or are we going to get something that's more like the Mark Cerny presentation for the PlayStation 5, which was totally a dev thing, which I loved. I was eating it up, but a lot of people were like, they were bored. I absolutely loved it because I'm a geek. But are we gonna get this up here, the pomp and circumstance of E3, whether even fake crowd, not that we need CGI crowd, but are they going to be up there presenting, or is it all going to be prepackaged digital stuff? We've had enough, at least they've had enough time to prepare and practice, assuming that it's going to be all digital. So either way, I'm excited about it. But yes, nail on the head. We don't know how this is going to be, because it's not our full-on E3 convention that we're used to, which maybe we'll get next year. I hope we'll get next year. At the same time, businesses are reassessing in every aspect.
Sony's not going to be there.
Do you have to do it in person? Sony, this is Sony wasn't there last year. Obviously, it didn't really happen.
They skipped 2019.
Skipped 2019, so this is be the third year for Sony not to be there. Then again, they could come back next year, because with COVID and everything, that may just be a memory. Maybe Sony will come back. We don't know. We do know that the first one, I'm going to jump forward here. I know we have our pre-prepared lists of what we think is going to happen, but I'm jumping forward because we do know that Ubi is going to be first. At least we believe Ubi is going to be first. Ubisoft having their Ubi Forward on June 12th. Thoughts on Ubi?
Well, so this is we did skip one thing though, because Ubisoft Forward is not a part of E3. This is a part of Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest.
That's true. That's true.
E3 actually starts June 16th. Keighley kind of one-upped him a little bit, and Keighley is doing a 2-hour live kickoff event on June 10th. That's June 10th is the very first event. Keighley said it's at 11 a.m. Pacific, so that's 1 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. Patrick's time on June 10th. Throw that on your calendar. He said at least 12 games are going to premiere in this. He put up a little splash screen on the website, and Sony is a part of Summer Games Fest. Is Sony going to debut a game at this event? But Keighley did say temper your expectations because COVID has thrown things off. So what I get from that is maybe we're not going to see everybody's best games, and maybe we're not going to get everybody's best release dates either. But that's why I just wanted to preface that. So Ubisoft is a part of Summer Games Fest. What do I expect from Ubisoft? Honestly, after that earnings report where they said that they're going to be focusing on less AAA experiences, I don't know. I should have wrote down. I did wrote down some new free-to-play Garbo was the only thing that I wrote down. But if I was going to make one prediction that needs to happen, it's been 4 years since we got Mario Rabbids on the Switch. I would like Mario Rabbids 2. Maybe some other thing. Okay. Hear me out, because I just came up with this on the fly.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda Rabbids.
Legend of Zelda Rabbids.
So an XCOM style Legend of Zelda V Rabbids game. That would be awesome. There's my dream. There's one of my... I was going to put you on the spot at the end of this podcast on what you want to dream, so now I'm already putting that egg in your head to come up with some wild predictions. For the 35th anniversary of Zelda, Ubisoft is going to say Legend of Zelda Rabbids.
That's a big one. That kind of breaks my brain. I'm gonna have to like digest that and figure out like how I even respond to that. But this is why we like E3 though, because there will be an announcement like that happens, and then everybody's like, what just happened? And we start texting or messaging in Discord and going, did we really just see that? Like, is this a joke? But that's what I love about E3. You did mention the from a for realsies situation. You did mention free to play, talking about their earnings, and the next division is going to be free to play. So they're already moving into that kind of territory. It does not make me happy if it is certain properties. Then again, I hope that they're smart enough to look at those properties and say, well, this one would work, this one would not. For example, Beyond Good and Evil. We have not seen anything for Beyond Good and Evil in 3 years. I was really excited to be playing this game, and it got delayed, or it's an indefinite delay. So I'd like to see some Beyond Good and Evil. I don't know. I really hope we're going to see something, but I don't know where they are in the development cycle. This is the kind of stuff I don't think that should go free to play. And when they announced that, everyone jumped the gun and said they're going all free to play. They're not. This won't be. And I don't think that Assassin's Creed, at least in its proper edition, if you will, its proper form, will be free to play. There may be some type of multiplayer thing they try to do with it, but the Assassin's Creed games, as we know them, I don't think are going anywhere. That's the one thing that I was kind of concerned about, because that's a franchise that has been, well, Valhalla sold okay, but critically they haven't been doing as well. And I think that's because it's oversaturation. And I'm worried that would be like a knee-jerk reaction where they're like, just do a MOBA, Assassin's Creed MOBA or something like that, or which would be a bad idea. So don't think Beyond Good and Evil. Hope Assassin's Creed doesn't get that.
I will say, so, you threw out a lot there that was definitely interesting, and I actually dropped a screenshot into your Facebook message so that you could show it off, because I think that out of all the free-to-play games that Ubisoft could have gone with, I think that The Division definitely is the right franchise for that. They already have like an established like lore and everything with The Division 2. And then what they laid out here is that they're still going to be giving DLC for The Division 2, but also having this free-to-play, and then they're doing The Division Mobile.
Yeah.
You're definitely seeing this in terms of they're reacting to Call of Duty Mobile, they're reacting to PUBG Mobile, they're reacting to Fortnite Mobile, and I think that that's perfectly fine. I think that people who want to rag on that, you know, I get that it's great to hate people wanting to make money and everything, but that's honestly what you're gonna do. And I what I did think was a little funnier here was at the end a Netflix film, and so I can't wait to see how awful that is. That I'm just calling that now that's going to be absolutely terrible.
That is Resident Evil. By the way, we have 2 Resident Evil. Like, we have Resident Evil animated, and we have Resident Evil like live action coming out this year on Netflix. So I'm still holding out that those will be decent. But yeah, this is going to be trash. This is a franchise that I can see lending itself to this type of gameplay. In fact,
I think that's the right call.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I think Ubi's not going to have that, like I said, is going to have that foresight to say, we're not going to cannibalize ourselves in regards to our IPs. We're going to use the right ones, or we'll have like a little spin-off, little side thing, but don't take away the big ones that make money.
Because I think the other obvious choice would have been Rainbow Six, because they already have Rainbow Six Siege, which is a really competitive multiplayer game. And if they made that into something bigger with a Rainbow Six Siege BR or whatever they want to call it, Rainbow Six BR, I think that is a thing. Now, the other thing that you went to was AC. And I did want to note, because you said it hasn't been doing as well, you're not going to see Valhalla at this event unless they're just showing off the fact that they just came out with that DLC that came out like a week ago. But this was the best-selling Assassin's Creed since 2013, it looks like. And so
which is why I backtracked, because I was like, they did better
than
like the Unity. And
so I think that they're really showing like taking a year off, you know, not just totally saturating it, and then also making the right lore choice by going with Valhalla. The Vikings are in right now and going with the trend, and so that makes me wonder like where we go next with Assassin's Creed. Like one thing that I'm always wondering kind of when it's going to come, and maybe I just don't know enough about Assassin's Creed, but after the success of Ghost of Tsushima, when do we see some feudal Japan Assassin's Creed? Like, when's that popping up?
I would love that. They did have a China one that was but that was not a
was that on Vita, PSP?
It was on. I want to say it was on Vita. I can't even remember. It is a 2D. It's a 2D platformer. It is not a traditional Assassin's Creed game. I want to say it is on Vita, but I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. But
Assassin's Creed Chronicles China.
Yeah. So while we've been there a little bit, we could go back. I'd love to see feudal Japan. Absolutely love that. We've gone as far east now as as Egypt. We've not gone any further. I mean, I guess there may be some Russia stuff that there's a Russia.
That's also
Chronicles.
part of this Chronicles thing.
There's a Russia
India,
Chronicles,
apparently.
Yeah. So we've done that from the Chronicles standpoint. I would love to see either some feudal Japan, or here's my if they need to buffer that, right? If they're like, we need to give some space in between us and Ghost, because Ghost is amazing and it's huge. Then you give us an Assassin's Creed in China around that area, and immediately I'm thinking Marco Polo, which would be a terrible title for it. But that kind of era, maybe it's Assassin's Creed Silk Road, or something that would work. And I think having China in there, and then like you see Japan like is an area we can't get to, but the Japanese are attacking, whatever. Go into the history that I don't know in there. And then maybe go to Japan afterwards as like a sequel, kind of like what they did with the Odyssey and Origins and Odyssey.
Yeah. So I think that there's I think that there's some room there, but we're not going to see it other than for them to be like, just, hey, Valhalla was awesome. Check out this DLC. Apparently the DLC is pretty good from what I've heard. I have Valhalla sitting collecting dust on a shelf. I will play it at some point to make it my first Assassin's Creed since two that I've played. So it will get gotten to. It's probably going to be a part of my 2022 12 for 12, to be honest with you at this point. But I did buy it at $30 whenever I had a chance, because I couldn't. That was actually the purchase whenever I bought that and Cyberpunk, that I was like, all right, Owen, you gotta stop buying stuff, because I had no intention of playing Cyberpunk either. I was like, you gotta cut it out right now. And so that was the nail in like my just dumb purchases. And then Nintendo comes out with this Zelda amiibo, and I pre-ordered that from Best Buy today. So
the only other thing at Ubisoft that I wanted to mention before we move on, because I know there's a lot to talk about, is I want Prince of Persia. I want an update on this game. I want to know what's happening. We keep hearing, like, we heard it was delayed, then they said, well, no, it's going to come out this year, we don't, and then we hear we don't know. That's the only other thing that I've been a fan of this game, like, no joke, since I was 4, the old school DOS games. So yeah, I want to know more about I want a status update. That's what I want. I want a status update on the Prince of Persia.
And we already got our first status, or not our first, like our 17th status update on Skull and Bones. That game's never coming out, dude. They said April 2022. I think when's the first time we saw the Skull and Bones game? That's what I want to know.
I can't remember.
This game was announced originally at E3 2017.
17, okay.
It's never coming out. How this game has not got canceled yet, I have no idea. I was just like, why did we not just make Assassin's Creed 4 spin-off pirate game? Like, because I think that's what most people wanted. Skull and Bones did look dope, though. I'm disappointed. Like, I'm being a little mean to it at the moment, but it looked awesome, and then I just don't think they know how to get it right. I think that when you see the arcadey version in Sea of Thieves, which Sea of Thieves is a ton of fun, I think that they wanted to go the serious route, and there's just something not clicking with it. So I honestly expect this game to get canceled at some point, but we already got an update last week saying that that's been delayed until April at the earliest.
When this happens, it's never good for the game. I'm sorry. Duke Nukem, Last Guardian, I mean, it's ad nauseum.
People say delays can only hurt the game, but this game has just been troubled. I mean, it can only help the game, but this game has been troubled.
Just think of the Simpsons meme. He's already dead.
Yeah, just seriously stop.
Just stop. Yeah.
With these other ones, we don't know when these events are. So who do you want to go with? We got your other big dogs here. And are we wrapping Bethesda into Xbox now? Even though they'll probably have their own separate thing, maybe we have no idea.
I've got Bethesda wrapped into Xbox. Let's start off with that because it's going to happen. They're going to have some large presentation as Xbox's with everything that Xbox has been doing. This, and I know I've probably said something similar because this has been like they're going to do it later. Just give them a minute. They're going to do it. This is going to be Xbox's year. Just mark my words. This is going to be Xbox's year to be like, look at all of this stuff that we have, because they've been buying up studios. Now it may just be, which I'm fine with. It may just be like, hey, look at this little thing we're working on. We don't know when it's coming out, but look at this thing. Look at this other thing. I'm fine with E3 being that the entire time. By the way, you're not. I am. It's with COVID and everything's delayed. Show me something. Show me something that you're doing. Show me something cool. I think this is going to be it for. This is going to be a big year for Xbox.
I don't need them to. I don't need Xbox to come out and say this game comes out tomorrow. No, I don't need that to happen, but I need some bombs, dude. I need to see something. I need to see the next year. I want to see what am I going to see between June of 2021 and 2022. Yep. What can I expect? And it's going to start with Halo looking dope. That's I fully expect. I hope you pulled the first trailer of how bad it looked before. I expect it to look dope.
I did. I really hope, and I totally am stealing this from another podcast that I'm not going to name, but someone was joking, saying like, I would love to see a side by side, like for them to be that have the gall to be like,
That'd be
here's
awesome.
what we showed before. Look at what it looks like now. But in order for it to do that, it would have to be a big difference, a big separation. I would just love to see that with a little slider, where it's like, look at it now, look at it before, look at it. I would love that.
Kind of like a digital foundry slider.
Yeah, I'd love to see them do that, to be like, look, it didn't look good, that's why we delayed it here. Because to be that straightforward, to be that real with people who know what they're talking about, and then show me how great it looks, I'd be happy about it. This game doesn't look better than Halo 3.
I want a narrative gameplay piece. I want to be taken through a narrative section of the game. I want 5 to 10 minutes of just narrative gameplay. Like Phil just says, "What's up? Here's Halo," and we just watch 5 to 10 minutes of Master Chief. I'll take some combat sizzle at the end of it, but I want narrative. I want showing like that, hey, you know, we listened as far as looks go, but also we want to show you what the game's about, and what we're trying to do here. I want a lot of things from that. Like, Halo needs to be good. Like it's going to be super sad. Like, I'm not saying that Xbox will be in trouble. That'd be hyperbole if I said that. Xbox is not going to be in trouble if Halo's bad, but Halo needs to be good. Halo is one of the premier console franchises of my lifetime. I'm talking Halo 2 and 3 hold some of my greatest like multiplayer gaming memories, but also hold some fantastic single player memories. I love, like, I know a lot of people love 2 more than 3 in terms of it, but I loved 3. I played the crap out of 3. I loved it on multiplayer, and then I also just loved playing it single player. And after having played now 7 months of like Call of Duty multiplayer, I'm enjoying first person multiplayer again. I'm ready for
jump in that 60
I'm ready for some Halo multiplayer too. And so,
if not 120, we'll see if they can hit that. But like, I mean, the textures in this just look
they look fine. They look fine.
But from next gen, but next gen does not need to be fine. Next gen needs to be
good.
Mind melting. Yeah, I mean, especially Halo. I would argue that Microsoft doesn't have a flagship character, but if they do, it's Master Chief. Like, other than that, like Nintendo, Mario is their flagship. Zelda, we love Zelda and everything, but Mario is their their mascot. This is as close as Xbox gets to it, and it is a system seller. Then again, this will be on PC as well because of Game Pass and because of the way Microsoft works. But it's going to buy, if people are console gamers, they're going to buy an Xbox to play this game if they don't already have one and they don't have a PC that'll run it, especially if it looks good, which I really hope it does.
Do we have an actual release date, or is it just it said autumn? Is it just autumn 2021, or do we actually have like
I'm pretty sure they just said autumn.
What? Okay, planned release date was November 10th, 2020. Obviously, that's not happening. Late 2021 is all Wikipedia says.
I'm going to say November 2021 if they can get it right. A good old year delay.
Dude, November's going to be hecking. With all the November releases that I have planned on my sheet.
I got a calendar. I got my calendar, Google Calendar, because yes, we're like that. I got my Google Calendar, like what's coming out, when it's coming out, and then I got certain ones that are like, wait for that Best Buy or whatever it is, buy 2 get 1 and all that. Of course, this will be too new to be on there if it does come out there. Of course, if you what's up?
I was going to go to the next thing, or the next game. But if you have more to say about Halo, go ahead.
Not about Halo. I was going to say something else, but you go, and then I got.
Well, I was going to say, so as awesome as I expect Halo to look, I'm going to hurt your feelings a little bit here because I know this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
Starfield's going to come out next year. It's not coming out this year.
Okay.
It's coming out Q1 2022. It's March. I'll say March.
I don't want you to be right. I don't want you to be right. I want Starfield to be the Bethesda, Todd Howard or whoever talking about it, and then they just say, yeah, you can play Starfield into like what is it, August. It's like 2 months after. Like, it's coming out in August or September, and everyone just click, pre-order that. It just depends on what they have to show. It depends on how meaty this is. They've done that before where it paid off. Starfield may be able to do that. I hope you're not right, but I could totally see that happening if they're not ready. It's an ambitious game that we don't know a lot about. So, which with Bethesda, like I said, they are so closed doors with this successfully that they could have this game completely done and then just be like, hey, guess what? It comes out next week. It wouldn't give enough people enough time, but Bethesda can pull that off, and not a lot of other teams can do that. I hope you're not right, but I'll say that's plausible. That's very plausible.
I do say, did you pull the screenshot that got leaked this last week?
No.
So there is a screenshot, and it doesn't really look like. I mean, people say gorgeous. I think that's a little excessive. It's just, I mean, it looks nice. Let me see if I can get the image for you.
I think I found it.
Cool. So this was an image, and cool. There's another leak that happened this week that says that Tom Cruise might be one of the voice actors for the game. I think that would be incredibly expensive on their part for that to happen. I guess it could.
Is this it? Because
no.
Let
me see.
There's a couple that look similar to this.
Here, let me get you this link right here. So there's another thing that says that Tom Cruise might be a voice actor. I think that would be incredibly expensive. But whatever. They just got rolled for $8 billion. They could probably do whatever they want. There's three shots in here, and these are quote unquote leaks. So we don't know if they're real. I'm going to assume they are. So that can say something if they're just letting some stuff happen in drips like this, and that's where it could point to it being a 2021 game. I don't know. I feel like we would know already, right? I feel like it just would have been said, but you are absolutely right in terms of Bethesda's history, where Todd, they don't announce games until it's 6 months or less out, and so with June, maybe it could be a January game. That could be something crazy. I don't think that they put it up against Infinite. So I think that if we're saying Infinite's coming out in November, I say that Starfield either has to come out before that, and if it doesn't come out before that, then it's going to be January. They're not going to make Starfield a December game. They would never put it. For those who don't know, you just don't really release games after November 20th or so, and if you do, they're just, I'm not saying they're not doing as well. It's just not done very often. I think Kingdom Hearts 3 came out December 7th at one point, something like that. But if it doesn't come out in November, they're not going to do it, because they would want it to be a part of the Game of the Year discussion for that, and it would be outside of Keighley's Game of the Year window if that happened. So it's either got to be like September or January.
Well, and they do that. They do that for a couple of reasons. But yeah, you're right. You're doing it. They want to be Game of the Year contender, and also the traditional idea of, especially in the United States, around Christmas, everything slows down in regards to. I should say not everything slows down. Commerce continues, commerce gets crazy, but when it comes to activities, you're doing activities with family, with friends, and I'm not saying not everybody, but a lot of people do that, and they don't play as many video games, or people who play video games who are around our age have adult obligations or family gatherings that they hit up. It's less time to play video games. So yes, that's why January, February.
And your shopping is virtually already done, but it's there's just not a lot of people doing, whenever you're talking about buying games for your kids and stuff too. I get that stuff done on as soon as I'm done eating on Thanksgiving. Most of my shopping is done.
No, I agree. Coming up on your next one, though, because I just want, in the interest of time, we could be here all night talking video games, though, but Outer Worlds 2, you're predicting that one?
Yeah, I just think we're going to see it. I think before Obsidian got bought, it was a big win for them. I think that they made a great game. I know that it's not necessarily controversial, but I've I've talked to a lot of people that didn't necessarily care for it, which I don't get it. I loved it, and I don't like this style of game. I thought that when we're talking about Fallout in space, I think that they nailed it. I think that their characters were great, and so I just think it would be weird if they weren't working on a second one before they were purchased. They did the DLCs. I've also heard great things about the Outer Worlds DLCs, and I should buy the season pass if I see that on sale. Or no, it's available on Game Pass. What am I talking about?
Available on Game Pass.
I own it on PlayStation. What do I need to buy things for?
You know what else is available on Game Pass though? Is Fallout New Vegas. And you got on here Fallout New Vegas sequel. If this is true, I will squeal. I will squeal. I am not joking. This is my favorite Fallout game. Absolutely love it. And if you liked Outer Worlds and haven't played Fallout New Vegas, that humor, it's Obsidian, baby. That humor is in there.
I want like Fallout Seattle or Fallout San Francisco. Like cool. I want, if we're not ever going to go down south, I would love a Fallout Texas, to be honest with you. But I really think that I'm not saying it's time for Bethesda to like release the Fallout, because it's obvious that whenever they fix 76 that they still love that franchise and they still treat it's their IP, right? But I think that it's arguable that that New Vegas is the best Fallout, and it wasn't even made by Bethesda. It was made by Obsidian, who is also owned by Microsoft. So I just think it's one of my left field predictions from Microsoft that they tease. Like, we're gonna see Starfield, it'll be cool, and then it's like, oh hey, you remember Fallout New Vegas? This looks dope, right? Well, how about Fallout New San Francisco?
That'd be cool. You can have the new being the designating that it's an offshoot. It's not a 3, 4, 5 in regards to the sequence and everything. I would love that. It can be any of those towns if Obsidian is doing it and it has that quirk and that humor. Fallout 3 is just drier. Fallout 1 and 2 are even drier than that. They're good in regards to story, but there's something magical about New Vegas. Something about the setting, the humor, all that together. And as we talked about him before, but Chandler being in being the one of the voices in there, so getting that is pretty cool.
And I think that we're leaving out a lot of stuff. I wonder if Microsoft's going to talk about Deathloop at all, since it's a PlayStation exclusive. But Deathloop's coming out. I don't want to hear about Elder Scrolls 6 because it's probably years from being done. If you show me another splash screen, I'll throw something at Todd Howard. That needs to not happen. Yeah. I know that Double Fine's working on like Psychonauts 2, so that means we're definitely going to see that. I also put on there, it's time for Wolfenstein. Me and Patrick are going to be playing Wolfenstein 2, I think, next month as part of our 12 for 12. That's it would be perfect for them to bring up Wolfenstein 3. And that's my last prediction.
Yeah. A lot of mine line up with yours.
Not see Machine Games. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So a lot of mine, by the way, you'll see this as we go into the other of the big three. This is the first of the big three. My picks may seem anemic in comparison because a lot of what I wrote down is the same games that Owen wrote. I do believe we're going to see a heavy emphasis on the subscription models in regards to Game Pass, in regards to xCloud. I think that Microsoft is going to make, if not, and making so much money on it. It's so good. Get yourself a Backbone and a Kishi, one of each maybe. I don't know. So I think we're going to see Xbox talking about this. We have people playing the beta. I've been using the Kishi to play off of my console. I tried it a little bit online. It was fine. It's just a little bit more lag depending on the game that you're playing. But that's just me. That'll only get better. Xbox, I said this years ago. I said this when Stadia came out. I was like, Xbox is kind of working on the same thing. I wonder if what's going to happen. And now we know Xbox is basically beaten out Stadia in regards to this. It's better. The price point's better. The subscription model wins. Stadia was supposed to be that subscription, that Netflix of gaming, and it's not. But Game Pass and xCloud, that combination, that Game Pass Ultimate, that's it. The other thing I was going to say was they're probably going to talk a good amount, or at least if they don't talk about it, we're going to see a sizzle reel. This is what I guess my prediction.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see a sizzle reel. All those studios that Xbox has purchased, because there's so much to show, even if it's like just a little bit of flash of gameplay. There's so many studios that they own now. I think it's like 30 that they've bought in the past 2 or 3 years, some obscene number like that. And Microsoft is continuing to make profits between this, Azure, Microsoft Teams. Like, they're just building an empire. So I expect to see a sizzle reel, and I hope to see some Fable 4, because all we've seen is this pretty little trailer, and I want to see more Fable 4. Fable 2 was great. Fable 1 was pretty good. Fable 2 was great. Fable 3 was in it. So
Fable 3 sucks.
Hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's crazy is we're not even mentioning like some of the biggest things. Like we're not mentioning Ninja Theory with Senua's or Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
We're not mentioning Everwild, which was announced. We're not mentioning Ghostwire Tokyo, which is PS exclusive for right now. We're not mentioning Perfect Dark. Like, we're probably like, there's a chance to see a lot of these things, and that's exactly what I want. But what I really want the most is I want to know what to look forward to in the next year. That's ultimately what I want. I want the next year. Now that they have so many of these studios, I don't need to see the whole future. It was nice to know that they're working on Perfect Dark. I don't expect Perfect Dark in the next year. I expect Perfect Dark 2 years from now, maybe. I expect, Elder Scrolls 6 5 years from now. I expect there's some of these games where I don't expect Hellblade 2 in the next year, because that's going to be on Epic, right? Not Epic. Epic's new in Unreal 5.
Unreal 5. Unreal 5. Give them some time on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. We're speeding through things that, if people are in the comments saying like, why didn't you talk about this? There's so much to talk about. When it comes to Xbox, when it comes to all these, we're trying to make sure we at least get through all this without spending hours on it.
As much as we'd like to.
Yeah, we totally would. But up next in the big three is Nintendo, and I think that we kind of see eye to eye in regards to Nintendo this year. We had the year of Luigi. It is now time for Zelda. And I think we're going to see a good amount of Zelda in regards to what they show. I don't know if it'll be a full-on focus, but I think we're going to see a good amount of Zelda, especially with your first pick, Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah! So I pre-ordered myself a nice old amiibo this afternoon. Got me a link from Best Buy. Looks super pretty with Zelda and her loft wing. I think that we're gonna get a nice trailer for this. It does come out I think 10 days after E3 starts. So depending on what day Nintendo's going with their direct, they're definitely going to show it. But what I really want that to end with is Breath of the Wild 2 coming out in November.
I would love that. Also, because Skyward Sword is a remaster, they don't have to worry about like, oh, it came out too soon. It's the same crowd, but by the same crowd I mean it's the Zelda hardcore fans are going to buy both, but people who only want the new games will buy the Breath of the Wild 2. I really hope it's November. For many reasons, but this is a direct sequel similar to how Majora's Mask was the second time that they've done that. And there's probably one of the handhelds that did it as well. But
I'll tell you what worries me though.
What's that?
That I think that they want this to come with a Switch Pro, and because we have all these chip shortages and stuff right now, like, I really hope that doesn't get Breath of the Wild 2 delayed. Like, I really hope that they're not trying to pair, like, a launch with the Switch Pro. Because I could see that, right? I could see, like, here's your Switch Pro running Breath of the Wild 2. They come out the same day. Don't worry, you can still play it on the original Switch. I just really hope that doesn't happen. I want this game like yesterday. It's been since 2017. It's my favorite game of all time. they've shown us that they're diving more into the story. Who knows if it's taking place before the calamity? Are we like finding some like remnants of Ganon afterward? Like, where is this going? I want it now. I want November. I said March last year. That didn't happen. That's obviously, I think, some COVID stuff, but I want this year, and I don't want it to be held back by the fact that there's a chip shortage on Switch Pro.
Well, if it's playable on both, that means that we can buy it, we can play it on our Switch, and we may not be able to get a Switch Pro at launch, though. You know me and Owen, we're going to try to go Switch Pro at launch. I mean,
100%.
I love my Switch.
100%.
I already upgraded from the regular Switch to the Switch 1.5, if you want to call it that, because of the battery life and because there were some sweet deals on that. If Switch Pro comes out, I'm going to buy the game either way. If it's playable on both, that'll be great as well, because you played Breath of the Wild on Wii U, right? Yeah,
and so you're saying that like that just means what would happen is I would play it in its entirety on Switch, beat it, and then I would probably 100% it on Switch Pro.
I wouldn't doubt it. I knew that you completed it on Wii U, and that's why I got this trailer. This is the trailer of them announcing the new Zelda. Before it was called Breath of the Wild, and they were talking about this being on Wii U.
Yeah.
So I specifically been playing this trailer for that reason.
I played it on Wii U, and then my lovely wife bought me a Switch.
Yeah.
A few months later, in the summer of 2017 and 2017.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In the summer of 2017, and I 100%ed Breath of the Wild at that point. So if that was to happen again, where Breath of the Wild 2 comes out on Switch, I play through it, I beat it, I just do a casual, when I say casual, just like not going through every little thing, just kind of playing the game as it is and beating it when I beat it. And then on the Switch Pro, playing it in all of its glory, then I'm okay with that. And then I would probably actually go back and play Breath of the Wild 1 if we get 60 frame 1080.
That was the other bit that I thought about like putting in here in regards to Switch Pro, and I thought about writing it down. I'm like, I don't think they'll do that, but all it needs now is a software patch, and if they do that little upgrade so the Switch Pro plays Breath of the Wild that much better, then I'll play Breath of the Wild 2, and then I'll go back and play Breath of the Wild. That'd be really cool. And I also hope that it'll make Pokemon look better, because I want to play this game. I want to play this game, but it does just...
This game looks like... I'm like one of the only... I think it was just a thing of I watched the trailer too many times, but just watching the trailer over and over again, I was like, the first time I was like, this looks dope, open world Zelda, and then I watched it again. I was like, this looks good, and then I watched it again. I was like, man, this looks fine. And then I got to the point where I'm just like, the visuals and how things are running, like this grass, like it looked bad, okay? And so I need a Switch Pro I don't know if that's going to help it at all. Like, everything about this game I want, but I also want it to look good. It was this little thing, like, run it, like, I was like, this looks terrible.
Breath of the Wild looks better, and Breath of the Wild came out years ago, and it looks better on the same hardware.
And it looks better on the Wii U.
It looks better. I love my Wii U. I'm only laughing because we're talking. That's how this... You're right. It looks, part of me was, I looked at it and I was like, it's fine. I was so excited, and I think a lot of other people were just so excited about that open world Pokemon that people were okay with the textures. People were okay. To me, you can do stuff like that when textures becomes forgiving. Like Borderlands is a great example of that. Even if you're not playing the enhanced version, the OG Borderlands 2 look good because of that cell shading. But this one, just the movement's janky, the frame rate's janky. So I want that to look better. And I want some Metroid Prime. That's what I want.
You want Metroid Prime 4?
I want Metroid Prime 4. I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, this game famously got a splash screen reveal. Mm-hmm. And what year was that? Was that 2018? Let's see. It also, 2017 was a bad year for just games getting shown. Poor Skull and Bones, poor. Anyway, so, and then in 2018, Nintendo basically No, in 2019, Nintendo said this game is bad. We're starting over. So that's been 2 years now. I think that's reasonable to put an ask on Metroid Prime form. Something like no release date, just here's Samus, and then pairing that with the Metroid Prime trilogy being available on Switch next week.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good 1-2 punch. And then my last bit when it comes to Nintendo, because Nintendo's not gonna go all in, but these are games that we know have been in development, so it's about time that we see something. The last one for me is Bayonetta 3. For this, and Bayonetta 2 coming to Wii U was already interesting enough. Bayonetta 3 going to Switch, I think is really cool. It's an interesting thing that Nintendo, which is normally kid friendly, gets Bayonetta. But I want some more Bayonetta. I will admit I've not played the second one, but I loved the first one, so I'm fine with some more Bayonetta.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really care. I own Bayonetta 1 and 2 on Switch. I played them for about 5 minutes, and I think I just wasn't in the mood, and it's still sitting in my game case. I should maybe that'll be on 2022's 12 for 12 as well, just because it's one of those things that I owned. Astral Chain is a game that I never got to, and I've heard decent things, but with Scarlet Nexus coming out, which isn't developed by Platinum, by the way, that's why I'm mentioning this. Platinum developed Bayonetta and Astral Chain. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this game. I wonder if I keep now wondering. I'm like, is it just that the Switch Pro is supposed to come out and that there's problems? And like, because I can see Bayonetta 3 being a thing where it's like, this looks dope on Switch Pro, and there is no Switch Pro. So I wouldn't say that they would ever hold a game back. For that reason, but it just, things keep feeling bad, and I also hope that I don't expect it to happen, but I hope Bayonetta 3 doesn't turn into Scalebound.
I hope not. I don't think that it will. I hope that there's enough people like that want to see it where it's not going to be like Scalebound. But then again, it depends on also who owns the IP, because I know it's a Nintendo exclusive for Bayonetta 3, but if Nintendo doesn't own it, then there's contractual agreement. If Nintendo purchased the intellectual property, which I don't think that they had, and I'm not going to look that up because I don't want to waste time, but I could see Nintendo scrapping it or putting it out in the back burner because it's Nintendo. But I really hope not. Up next in the big three, we got Sony and PlayStation. This one, again, we don't know what we're going to see in regards to their...
Because they are not going to be at E3.
They're not going to be at E3, so are they going to have a digital presence in regards to a state of play? That's what you mentioned here. I completely agree. A state of play coinciding right around E3, and they'll probably time it so when Xbox... One of them is going to move first, and Xbox is like, we're going to be Sunday night, and Sony will be like, we're Saturday afternoon or something like that. They did that a couple years ago. I could see them doing that again. I have a lot of hopes for Sony this year. I don't know how great it's going to be in regards to in comparison to Xbox, but what do you think other than the state of play? What are your thoughts?
It excites me that their logo was on the Summer Games Fest. So I'm now expecting to see something from them on Jeff Keighley's kickoff. Mm-hmm. I hope that it's not just Ratchet, and don't anybody misconstrue. I actually pre-ordered Ratchet over the weekend with my last paycheck. Got that Ultimate Edition. Gonna get that preload locked and loaded because Ratchet comes out June 11th. So Jeff Keighley's kickoff is June 10th. Ratchet comes out June 11th. I hope that that's not the only reason that they're associating that, is just to remind us that Ratchet is coming out. What I want to see. And I actually don't expect them to be there that week. I expect them to do like a July state of play and just completely separate themselves and like let it breathe, and then that way they don't have to share the spotlight with anybody. Yeah. I expect a July state of play, but if we do see them, and when we do see them, I expect Horizon Zero Dawn to be November 2021, and I expect God of War to not be coming out this year, and honestly, I don't even think we're going to see it.
I don't think you're wrong. I think Forbidden West is considerably further in development. They were both slated to come out 2021. God of War in its announcement trailer, which I have right here, was slated to come out 2021. I think you're probably right, though. I don't think God of War. I think we're going to see God of War. I think we're going to see some gameplay from it, but I think you're right. I think we're looking at spring 2022 or something around there for God of War. But I think we're going to see some gameplay. We're going to see, or we may or may not see gameplay. We're going to see something God of War, in my opinion. But yeah, you're probably right on Forbidden West, though. I keep saying Zero Dawn. It is Forbidden West, as they.
Yeah, I keep calling Zero Dawn 2.
Yeah, Zero Dawn 2.
It's just Zero Dawn 2 to me, but Horizon Forbidden West is the actual thing. I have two more. I do have my Year of Dreams thing that I'm going to add just at the end and it is Sony related. But I do also expect to see not much. Maybe a little web slinging around New York City or something like that. But I expect to see something like Spider-Man 2 2022. I just think that flows nicely. Insomniac has really shown that they are awesome at working at it, and I think that it places out right. Spider-Man 2 came out in 2018. Miles Morales came out in 2020. I think that 2022 is a good 4-year timeline between Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. I think that works. I think that, again, Insomniac's shown that they can make multiple games. They had Miles Morales and Ratchet coming out within this, a year of each other. I think what is that, 7 months, 6 plus 2, 8 months of each other. So they've obviously shown that they have a big enough team to go through that. I don't expect to see much, but I expect to see just a little Peter Parker, just a little webbing.
I'd like that. I'd like some hints at the multiverse. That would be really cool. I think that that's something that's known, and I mean, we saw it with the recent Spider-Man animated movie. I think we're probably going to see something similar in regards to the MCU. Sure. I wouldn't doubt if we do that again, but at the same time, it would be nice if they stick away from it. Who knows? Either way, I'm all in on the web slinger. I'm happy with it. Yeah.
And then I expect. There's my one prediction with PSVR that I'm going to mention, but I expect a sizzle. Like you mentioned, an Xbox sizzle, because they did say that Sony's working on 25 games and half of them are exclusive IP. I obviously don't think that we're going to see them, but as a part of that sizzle, I expect us to see a lot of PS4 games get their PS5 unlocks, and I think it's going to be headlined with Bloodborne getting a 60 frame unlock patch for PS5. I don't expect full-on remasters of every single game, but Uncharted 4 60 frames, Bloodborne 60 frames, basically anything that's first party, I expect them to say, and now it plays in 60 frames on PS5 starting today or something like that.
That'd be amazing. And Bloodborne's one that we've been waiting for forever. There have been some people who've modded it in, I guess, playing some type of emulation. I don't even remember how people are doing that on. I'm assuming they're doing a PC through some type of emulation.
Sure.
But essentially, a modded to do 60 frames, and it's gorgeous. This is one that needs it. Bloodborne's not my favorite Soulsborne. It's good. It's not my favorite. I love the atmosphere though, but it needs 60 frames. Absolutely needs 60 frames. So yeah, let's bring that.
And as I said on this very podcast, when they say that Bloodborne is 60 frames, Owen will play the game.
That's when it's going to.
He's not guaranteeing it to play it very long.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hold up. Like how? But like you got to promise,
give it the college try.
Give it the college try, but like how long is that?
And I'll say 10 hours.
Okay. Okay,
I'll try to play it for 10 hours.
That's respectable. That's enough time to get good, right? I mean, because that's
I don't think so, but we'll try.
I'm not great at these games. Okay, I'm not great at these games. I die a lot.
I'll stream it even.
Yeah, I die a lot. I love them, but I'm not great at them. I get frustrated. I rage quit. I am human, but I still love them. You get a little better every single time. I am hoping, in a similar vein, I'm hoping for some Elden Ring. We got a leak of Elden Ring, which I wanted to put up here, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want anyone to get mad. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, spoilers. So we'll just throw the trailer. We have the trailer over here. I want more Elden Ring. I want to see some presence of Elden Ring here. I think it's going to be connected to Sony if it's going to come out. So excited. That's what I want. I would also like, call this a prediction.
Okay.
I would like in my, you were asking for my dreams. Well, this seems small, but PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now merging together as a service, and you have an actual competitor to Game Pass, or a somewhat competitor to Game Pass. Because right now, PlayStation Plus doesn't cut it on its own. PlayStation Now doesn't cut it on its own. Merge the two together, and then you get a winner. I say we do that for $1 or $2 more a month than PlayStation Plus, and then you have and I'm not saying they're going to revamp and change PlayStation Now, right off the bat, but combining those two services, I think, is a no-brainer at this point for Sony.
That just makes me want to stack more PS Plus while it's cheap.
Yeah, that's the other aspect where I'm like, if that happens, I got like 2.5 years of PlayStation Plus, and I could grab some more while they're cheap on CD keys.
Even knowing Sony, I bet their infrastructure can't handle an upgraded price like that, where it's just like, pay us $2 for on top of your existing membership, and we'll give you PlayStation Plus now.
Mm-hmm. As sad
what
as
do they call it? PlayStation Next, PlayStation Square, PlayStation.
I don't know. Play Square. I don't know. But I'd also like to see some PlayStation VR 2. I think it's about time for us to see some PlayStation VR 2. And my prediction is, if they do show it this year, that you'll see some stuff like all your PlayStation VR stuff will obviously come over, and Resident Evil Village announced as playable on PlayStation VR. And if you play the PlayStation VR 2 version, not the PlayStation, PS4 PSVR, but only on PlayStation VR 2.
I feel bad about because mine's going to one up that prediction. I mean, yours is probably actually more likely. Here's my Euro Dreams prediction for the PlayStation VR 2. We do see PlayStation VR 2. We're going to see some stuff. One, I think Insomniac's definitely working on a VR game, because they actually worked on some VR games while they were independent. But here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna plug in that PlayStation VR 2, and you're going to see Half-Life Alyx running on a PlayStation VR. Like, that, I think that Steam made an amazing game. It was a game that was given a 10. It was a few people's game of the years, even though it had such a small
2 years, right?
Small player base.
Yeah.
I think that Steam is one of those companies that just doesn't have to care that they're about to put their game on a console. They obviously spent a bunch of money playing it on making a game, for an amazing game for a platform that not a lot of people have. Why not expand it out? And I think that PSVR 2 is combined with the power of the PlayStation 5, we can run. I think you see PSVR 2, and I think you see Half-Life Alyx as a PSVR 2 launch title. When does that come out? Next year, probably. But
think about how many people be so mad because they bought an Oculus, they got their gaming PC, they got all that ready, and you know what? They made enough money off of it, like you said. Valve doesn't need to make more off of it. I could totally see that. That's a year and a half or so. Came out March. I had to look. March 2020. I thought it was 2019. Gives them about a year and a half or so of sales of that before they announce it. You're still going to have people who don't have a PlayStation 5 who are like, well, I got my gaming PC. You're not going to move a PC gamer to console This is just to say, all right, well, now the console plebeians get to play the game that the PC master race got to play beforehand. I don't think they'll get that upset about it, but man, that would be amazing. I didn't
write that one down because I wanted to hit you with it. So that's my like, other than now Legend of Zelda Rabbids, which I'm willing into existence, that needs to happen as well. But Half-Life Alyx launch title PSVR 2 2022. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go into Square. Square's our last one because we already did Ubisoft, and we could talk about PC, whatever, but I don't think that they're going to have as much to announce. Over on the Square side of the house, I think we don't have as much to talk about on Square, but it's basically the same. It's all about Final Fantasy. As I'm playing some Outriders here just because it happens to be new.
Although they did come out and say that Outriders is set to be one of their next premier franchises and that they're going to be adding content to that. So good for them.
Yep.
Game Pass, baby.
Game Pass. It's getting people to actually play these games, games that they may have not picked up otherwise. But for us, it's about that Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 16, you already talked about it a little bit earlier. I don't know.
Can we make this game happen this year?
I would love for this to happen this year. I just don't. I think it may be too early. I would love it. I can't wait for it. I think we've seen so much already that we could see it come out this year, because this trailer, which came out last year, this trailer already has a lot of meat to it. It already has a lot of meat to it.
God, she looks so dope.
Beautiful. Looks like, I'm sorry, like I know different level of nerd or different type of nerd here, but as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that looks like a Magic the Gathering girl.
In the Marlboro in it. Oh my gosh, this game looks so good.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's being done by our Final Fantasy 14, Yoshi P, I like.
It looks good. I like, again, Final Fantasy, taking some of the tropes, some of the things that we absolutely love, and chocobos and that kind of thing, and bringing that through. But this is, it's almost like a little bit more Western in regards to the feel, in regards to the story and the characters. In regards to Western medieval, as opposed to like Japanese in regards to the setting, some of the monsters. I have no idea. I'm purposely going in a little blind. I know there's people who dissected the trailer and all of that. It looks beautiful, though. It looks beautiful. I love the magic. I would love for this to come out this year. I know we're getting Final Fantasy VII intermission. Which I am, of course, happy to be playing and everything. But we're gonna get, you're saying we get 16 before we get 7 type part 2, of course.
100%.
Yeah. How far do you think they are with part 2? Because all we hear is this like lip service of like, it's coming along nicely. Do you think we'll see it?
That's what I do think we're gonna see it. So I think that it's going to be like, hopefully, like, because at this point, whenever they get shown, because I really don't think that they're going to show it at Summer Games Fest. I think that they're doing like a July event. So that means intermission will be like a month old at that point. So I think 16 definitely comes out first. I think that Final Fantasy 15 came out in 2016. I think that there's probably a lot of foundation. Hopefully they don't have to redesign, like, hopefully they have a game engine and everything that they can use to put towards 16, and that they didn't have to start from scratch again. That's why I think it definitely comes out in the next year. I don't know about this year, but in the next 12 months, I expect to see 16. But I do expect it's not going to be much of anything. Just like Nomura said, whenever he said it's coming along nicely, we see Cloud walking through the grass. That's what we're going to see. We're literally going to see Cloud walking through the grass. We might, they might show a couple other things. I think a big reveal would be Sid. If we see the High Wind, I think that's something that could happen. Maybe they show Vincent, depending on where. It just depends on how much they're going into this. And again, once intermission comes out, by the way, if you listen to this podcast, I'm going to be talking fully about what happened in 7 and kind of where we think 7-2 can go. So I think there's the possibility of seeing like Sid or Vincent, but really I think here's just Cloud just walking through the grass.
Yeah. And we will totally talk about that once intermission comes out. That's your warning. It's fair game at that point, and we're going to be playing intermission again, or playing Final Fantasy VII again at that point. I think you're right, because I think we can see some stuff out of order because of the way that they've set this up. So yeah, I think we may see some things out of order. We're also getting Ever Crisis as well. That'll be next year. I don't foresee us seeing more of this. What's that?
See. Oh yeah, we'll absolutely see. Oh okay. Yeah, they can't. It's Square, dude. They can't help themselves. They can't help but show. Although honestly, I'm pretty excited about Ever Crisis. Like the fact that they're like, a lot of people are like, this is what we wanted. It's not what I wanted. I wanted what we got, even though I didn't know I wanted it at the time.
I bet you took the words right out of my mouth. It's exactly what I needed, is what I got with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I hope, and I'm excited about Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 for that. The last thing, I know this is like I kind of losing momentum, but I will say I would like to see some more Forspoken. I think we've kind of building some momentum with this, so I'd like to see that kind of cap off Project Athia as they originally announced it, and then they had the full-on trailer. And it to me, I feel like they're building some momentum for this, and I'd like to see more of it. Keep me excited about this game. But yeah, Final Fantasy all the way. I mean, I'm sorry, Square. I know you have other things going on, but it's all about the Final Fantasy.
Things to be excited about with Forspoken. The last time we saw it was a dope trailer. They said it was going to come out 2022. And honestly, the thing that excites me the most, other than how it looked, was that Gary Whitta, the guy who wrote Star Wars Rogue One, is the lead writer for Forspoken. So he wrote the story for Forspoken. If you liked Rogue One's story, like, I'm not saying you're going to get Rogue One's story in Forspoken. I'm saying if you liked the quality of that story, like that's who they got to write this game. I think that's exciting.
I liked Rogue One. We could talk Star Wars. I'm gonna stop myself because you know me and Owen. I liked Rogue One. I liked what they did with the story, because I went into Rogue One going, who wants to see that story? We know what happens. Don't make it Bothan joke, because that was Death Star 2. First Death Star, you're just like, I don't know, not talking about you, talking about people in the comments.
I did make that joke, though, and Alex Wooten got on to me about
it. You did. That's true. But, like, everyone made the joke. But we all knew going into it, we're like, but they probably, like, people assumed, they were like, I bet they all died, because we never saw them. We just see, we just see them presenting. I forgot the General Nadine, I think, presenting the Death Star and saying, hey, this is the thing, and we got the plans, and we never saw like who got them, so we assumed, well, they're probably dead. We never saw them, and I
think it's an M, Maydeen.
Was it Maydeen?
Yeah, close.
I was like, it's not Mon Mothma, it's not Admiral Ackbar. Actually, but yeah, I am even more excited about it because I didn't know it was that. I just looked at it and I was like, this is refreshing. It's different. It looks good.
And I actually think Maydeen is episode 6. Who did present it in episode 4?
Holy crap. Am I slipping? You're right, though. You're right, because Ackbar passes it over. He passes the mic to the general there. Man, I'm slipping over here. Who is that general? I can't believe I'm slipping on that. I thought it was Maydeen, but yeah, you're totally right, because I'm hearing him.
General Maydeen.
I'm hearing them, like, between him and Mon Mothma, talking about the different aspects of the battle, taking down the shields and everything. Ah, man. I'm gonna have to look.
Dodonna?
Was it Rebel? It may be. Yep, Jan Dodonna. Yep, it was General Dodonna. Yep,
and then Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma was present like the whole time, but Dodonna was there at like right before.
Yeah,
they did it. And I can't now. I have to watch Rogue One again to see if they mention him in it or not.
I don't remember Mon Mothma and Mon Mothma's not in A New Hope. She's in only in 6. But yeah, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to watch it again, because I don't think they remember. did it either. But yeah, General Dodonna, there's your Star Wars trivia for this week. So let us know in the comments what you thought about our E3 predictions and our ramblings about Star Wars, and were you yelling at the screen because you knew it was General Dodonna? Did you mistakenly think it was Maydeen, or did you think it was Tarkin and you're way off because it was not Tarkin? Let us know in the comments what you think about that, all those other things, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.